Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Bolt Crew podcast. Dave Palais, Josh Palais, and Mario Heron talking Charger football with you on Thursday. Appreciate everyone that's already joined in the chat, ready to go. A lot of things that's funny, man, as we get ready for football season. And we always talk about how the NFL takes those 6 weeks off, guys, where you say, all right, we're busy for 46 to 52 weeks out of the year. This is the period where basically the NFL shuts down, but really it doesn't shut down, right? And as we were discussing this just 2 days ago, I have spent so much time watching NFL TV shows. I don't know about you guys, but I'm watching the Hard Knocks Giants. I'm all caught up in those. Right before we went and started this show, I'm watching the Receiver Show on Netflix. Are you guys watching these same shows too? And again, how it shuts down, but really, the NFL is never going to shut down. It's going to be 52 weeks a year of let's just go. And I think most of us are fine with it.
I think the NFL, like we talked about last show, but NFL is not even on the same level as the other sports. Like Major League Baseball cannot get out of their way. We know this. Every week we see something in Major League Baseball where you scratch your head and you're like, what the hell are you doing? The NBA, they let the players run the league. The NFL, like we said, is so calculated in everything they do, the timing of everything. 100% I'm watching Hard Knocks. 100% I'm watching the Receiving Show. If you're a Charger fan, Receiver Show, if you're a Charger fan, how are you not? I mean, you got Devontae Adams, the biggest hater of the Chargers, one of the main guys on the show. You got to be watching this if you're a Charger fan or a football fan.
So if I would have watched the show, or the show would have came out before we had the rivalry between the Chargers social media and Devontae Adams, I probably would have taken back a lot of things I said because he's really cool in the show. Like he's extremely, extremely likable. I don't know how far you guys are in it. I just got to the point where he got the injection and went out and played. One, very rattled that they were allowed to show that and that wasn't pulled.
Yeah.
I just thought that was crazy. I was like, wow, you're really going to show that? Like, I know it's like the secret that everyone talks about it, if you will, but to actually like show the hard proof of it, I thought was extremely interesting. And Amon-Ra St. Brown making the business decision of catching it and just goes down. And his receiver coach, like, why'd you go down? He goes, I had 3 guys around me. I'm not breaking a tackle. And he was like explaining it to everyone like about it. Like I needed to show up. The Hard Knocks, I'm gonna say something bold, guys. Best Hard Knocks, I think. Best Hard Knocks you've ever seen.
The one right now or the one with the Bears coming up? I mean
the one right now. I think the one right now.
Don't disagree. I'm with you on this. Like when watched the second one this morning because I was behind, I was like, man, I'm ready for the next one. Like I want more. I think I enjoyed this instead of the stories with the quarterbacks, the rookies, the whatever. I like how they come to picking players and how they talk about players. Right? I find it interesting. Also, Mario, they show your old hometown, Indianapolis. They're showing the steakhouses like you always talk about.
Yes, it almost.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I get the seasoning. Just ate it.
Just made me laugh. But, dude, the trash talking, which always happens in every office anyway, I think it's funny when they're going even after the head coach and no one wants to give them a break. I found it exciting, interesting. It's stuff that you normally don't see, knowing also that we know how the draft ends up for the Giants. At the same time, a guy that we looked at as Charger fans, that you want neighbors that weren't in Charger uniform. A lot of us were sitting there rooting, going, is that a guy that you would think about bringing in here? Going back and forth to that Receiver Show, and when St. Brown, and he does this all the time, we've all seen him go through his list, right? He has his hit list basically of everyone that was drafted ahead of him, and he's still angry about, and he's upset that, how could you pass me over? When I'm sitting there and I'm listening to his list, and every time I've heard it probably about 5 times, and then I'm going, I'm kind of chuckling, and then the last one's like Josh Palmer. You're just going, how do we miss that? The guy's so damn good. How do we miss that? Frustrating. It's in our own backyard, and we missed it. Nothing against Palmer, but dude, this guy's outstanding, right? He's one of the best in the league. That'd be such a great weapon for Justin Herbert. Look what Jared Goff has in him.
It's funny. When I saw it, I thought different than you. I was like, Josh Palmer is pretty good compared to some of the other guys on the list. Some of the guys I don't even know if they're in the league anymore. The ones that he's reeling off.
Some of them aren't in the league anymore.
Yeah, they're not even in the league anymore. But St. Brown going through the 16 receivers, hopefully that's the last time I have to see that, because I've seen it so many times by now that we get it. Okay, you're the 17th drafted receiver. Let's move forward. Okay, you're great.
He's going to put it on his tombstone. It's going to be on his tombstone.
It's going to be on his
wrist. Forget it.
Yeah, jeez, man, all over the place. But I got a question for you, Mario, because I know you don't like Travis Kelce. Are you a fan of the George Kittle talk all the time type of personality, or does he get on your nerves?
All right. I could be in a very small group of people on this. I am Kittle down. I
Me
can't
too.
Kittle. Okay, thank you, dude.
Me too.
I
We
do-
could throw 3 of us in there.
Yeah. Dude, if he was on my team, I'd be like, dude, I need your locker on the other side of the room. Like, we cannot be next to each other. I would not be able to stand him. I get you love football, but like, he's the type of guy it's like the music he listens to before the game's like Slipknot, and I hate those type of people. And I'm like, get the hell away from me. I'm gonna freak out. Like, I'm sorry, dude. I hate that. And that's just a feeling I get from him.
He's look, if he wasn't playing football, would you want him in your work environment, right? It seems like the guy that's a little
hell no.
unstable, right? Like, dude, what are you on? Why you like this? Why do you have like 75% third grader in you where you're just out of control? Like, control yourself a little bit. Like, name another work environment where George Kittle would be a guy you'd say, man, I'm happy to be around this guy. He's a guy that maybe you're happy to hang out with him when you're a junior in high school or junior in college. But after that, it's exhausting, right? But he's in the right place because he's an NFL player, and a lot of NFL players are like this. You kind of wonder what he's going to be like when he retires. I know he plays for the 49ers, but he lives actually pretty close to Josh in Nashville. It's one of those things where I always think George Kittle's overrated. And you're talking to a guy who's drafted him, 4 of the last 5 years in fantasy football, thinking this is the year. But when he made the comment, I can catch 4 balls or 1 ball for 7 yards and we win. Now, guess what? I'm not a Niner fan. This is the one time I don't care about the scoreboard. Like, you are killing me, George. And then you can go off when I'm having on my bench and catch 11 for 222 and 3 touchdowns, and then you look great. But then we don't hear from you for a year. So I want to transition from George Kittle to tight ends in the NFL because FanDuel listed the top 32 tight ends in the league. And guys, surprising to me, I'm going to ask you, who is the number 1 tight end in the NFL right now?
There's only one answer to that question. And if anybody says anything other than Travis Kelce, they're insane.
You agree, Mario? Are you insane?
Yeah, I agree. but also, I get when people say Kittle for like if you do like the all around conversation, like his blocking's unbelievable. It's literally
great.
like having another tackle out there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let me ask you, where would you put Kittle in the top tight ends in the NFL? Top out of 32 choices, where are you putting him?
1B.
Yeah.
You put 1B.
I
would take Laporta over Kittle.
Hold on. Are we
You're
talking about
nuts.
fantasy wise? Are
I'm
you
not
talking
nuts.
about like on the field tight end?
Fantasy football.
Oh,
Laporta is way above him.
yeah, dude. If we do fantasy, that changes the
Well,
whole.
What do you think
whole
FanDuel
game.
is? FanDuel's gambling on numbers.
Yeah, but
FanDuel
I didn't
put
know
this
if it
list
was
together.
a total like
No,
tight end.
this isn't Pro Football Focus. This is basically numbers. So
Yeah, no.
where would
Laporta's
you
right.
put him?
Laporta's 1B. Laporta could have a better season this year than Travis Kelce. That's how good Sam Laporta is. Yeah, George Kittle to me is about number 4 or 5. We're talking about stats.
Okay,
I mean,
so here you go. I'm gonna give you
there's a lot of guys that got big years, I feel like.
I'm gonna give you FanDuel's rankings. I'll give you the top 10, and you guys tell me if those guys aren't top 10 to you. Okay, and this is in order. George Kittle's number 1, by the way, on FanDuel's list. Number 1 tight end in the league. Number 2 is Travis Kelce. 3 is number 4 is Mark Andrews. 5, this one seems high to me, is T.J. Hawkinson. David Njoku. Number 7, Dallas Goedert. Trey McBride is number 8 from the Cardinals. Evan Ingram from the Jags is number 9. Cole Kmet, number 10.
I'm fine with that, except for Kittle. I think Kittle just way too high.
What about you, Mario? Anyone not listed that I said that you're going to win? I'm surprised that guy's not in there.
So again, basing off just like the fantasy, it almost makes sense. I feel like Mark Andrews, you could almost make an argument, could be higher, but just the fact of the matter is he just isn't healthy. Like he's just like never healthy. When he is healthy, yeah, like he's put him in that top 3 category. Probably could bump Kittle out, move him up there. Because his volume's just always going to be there. Lamar just always finds him. TJ Hawkinson, it's first off, one of the most shocking trades, I think, still to this day when the Lions traded him mid-season. The Vikings, it's like, all right, who had a little too much whiskey last night? But I think, maybe David Njoku, I would still take over him. The Dallas is a little high for me as well. I think he's getting a little bit up there in age. I think I'd move him down a little bit. And I'd also move Kyle Pitts. We're at one point, right? We got to get a big year from him at one point, right? Maybe.
You'd
point.
think. Well, he's number 13. Kyle Pitts is listed number 13. Okay. For anyone who's wondering exactly, because Brock Bowers got a lot of play on the show. Brock Bowers right now, before he's even played in one game, is at number 16. Okay, is where he's listed. Jake Ferguson and the Cowboys listed one pick ahead of him, and so as you go through, it's funny. There's one guy in here, and if you were to say which team is most likely to sign him, of course, it's the Commanders. It's Zach Ertz. Like, Zach Ertz hasn't been a good NFL player in a number of years. But yet, of course, the Commanders, like, I don't understand what the hell is going on to their time machine, the guys they keep signing. But Zach Ertz is listed at 27. And if you told me the Chargers were going to sign Zach Ertz, I would have come on the show and go, man, I don't see it. I mean, there's nothing there. He's on fumes. But the disappointing thing is Zach Ertz is ahead of the Chargers tight end.
Well, they're not the same type of tight end. And I know you're talking about Will Disley. Will Disley's a blocking tight end. So if you're going to talk about pass catching, I would take Zach Ertz over Will Disley.
Who's our
the team
tight end? Who's our pass?
Hayden Hurst. It's Hayden Hurst. But the thing is, the Chargers are trying to do a run first offense. That's why they got Will Disley. If they wanted a pass, first offense, they would have gotten a guy that can catch the ball a little bit better and run better routes. But that's not the team that they want. Hayden Hurst is going to be the tight end that does that. Do I think Hayden Hurst is great? No, I think this is his 5th team in about 5 seasons. I don't think he's great at all, but this is part of the program, right? Step 1 of step 3, hopefully, to get to the Super Bowl. Will Disley is a better tight end for our system than a pass catching tight end.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, Josh. It makes sense that Disley's that low because, well, it's based on fantasy, and he's a blocking tight end, and he's not like on the higher end of tight end talent in the league. So, and like, if he wasn't on the Chargers, would he be technically a starter anywhere? Like, how many teams would he start for, really? And how many guys, honestly, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, how many? I'm gonna catch so much hate for this in the chat, but like, how many guys on the Chargers can we actually say that on the offensive side that they would be like in the role for their other team? Like, would Palmer be a number 1 for 31 other teams? I don't think so. Maybe 4. Top of my head, maybe. So I think it's just the cards we're dealt with right now. We're like a little shorthanded on one side of the football, but like you said, Josh, we're trusting the process. It's step 1 of many, and it's a year that we look to build off of, and not the year of, oh, this is when we're all in.
All right, I'm gonna throw this at you. Looking at the Chargers offense, from what we don't know. Okay, again, it's as we do the show, it's July 11th, 2024. But you just said we really don't have that pass catching tight end weapon, right? I mean, it's not a focal point of the offense, like we've seen in the past with other great tight ends, like whether it's Kellen Winslow, whether it's Antonio Gates, whether it's Hunter Henry, guys who've gotten the ball. Even the last few years, we were in a better situation tight end wise with pass catching tight ends. Could the Chargers, tell me if I'm crazy right now, could the Chargers go so far back on the way they're planning on keeping things between the hash marks that they go with the 2-back offense and use that as a weapon?
100%. They added in a fullback for a reason. And a fullback to me is another running back. He's more of a running back than a tight end. If he's going to be in the backfield, I consider him more of a running back than a tight end. Chargers are going to do complete old school football. It's like when you play against a team that has the triple option and you play them one time a year, but you have to prepare for it. The Chargers are going to be that team where you're going to see a different offense than almost any team in the league. And I'm all for it. If everybody runs the same spread offense, I mean, how much do you really have to change for defense each week? The Chargers are going to be an outlier.
Yeah, they're going to be like a matchup nightmare, right? And, I work in the sports gambling space. I'm already looking forward to betting unders for them all freaking year. Like, they're just going to drain the living crap out of the clock with how much they're going to pound the football. And, defensively, if their pass rush is as strong as, we think it can be, and they don't really have a lot of time, that secondary, kind of gets saved by that. It's going to be some low-scoring games for LA, and not something we really are used to. But, hey, welcome to Monsters of the Midway Football. I've been seeing this since I was 3 years old. It's not fun, but at some points it is fun.
All right, so as people are sitting there saying Gus Edwards started for Baltimore, Philip, I see you right there. That's not what we're saying. We're saying, could you see Gus Edwards and someone else back there with him? What do they do as far as weapons? You obviously have to move the ball downfield. They want to eliminate turnovers. I mean, this is going to be a very conservative offense from what it looks like starting the season. Now, if you're Justin Herbert, that kind of makes you a little bit nervous, but at the same time, usually the team that turns the ball over the most is the team that loses the game. But it looks like this is what you're going to see. You're going to see tight football games the whole year, and Jim Harbaugh is going to rely on the team to come through when the game is a tight game, something this organization hasn't done for a number of years. So Josh, you said you're going old school. You brought up the triple option. Okay. So back in, Amari, I don't even know if you've seen a team that plays with an option. Have you ever seen an option offense where they're like 3 running backs back there at one time and then the quarterback rolls out and then either keeps the ball or options at one of the 3? Honest to God, I don't know why one of these teams doesn't even put that in their playbook in the red zone or when you need a 2-point conversion. You know what I mean? Because no one's prepared for it. It's an automatic 2. How many guys, because they all grow up playing high school ball, spread offense, college spread offense, NFL spread offense. If you put that in your playbook of saying, look, when we're going, we need 2 points, man, we're going triple option. You wouldn't even know how to line up. You don't even know how to do it. I mean, it takes a lot of practice stopping that stupid Air Force offense. I think Air Force was the last ones to do it, but it was crazy. It's an automatic 2. It would make you call a timeout. It would make you waste a timeout for sure. If you're the defense going, oh shoot, what do we do now? No one on the field's ever seen this before.
Justin Herbert won't run the ball. We already know he won't run the ball. I know what you're saying. If you want to do it on a 2-point conversion, go ahead. That's one thing I would like to see this upcoming season as Charger fans. Is Justin Herbert going to use his legs more now that we're more of a run team, or is his job just to keep throwing the ball back in the pocket? I would imagine he wouldn't be running the ball a whole lot more, if anything, this year, because we're going to be running the ball so much already. But I think it is interesting what you brought up about the Chargers kind of running this like the Tennessee Titans have with Derrick Henry, where they just kind of like pound you down over and over and over again, pause. And then on defense, they try to keep the score low. The Chargers have never been that team in my lifetime. The Chargers have always been one of those, electric, high-scoring teams. They're, we're going to outlast you, but we're going to actually blow it in the end. That's how the Chargers have always been. We're going to blow the games at the very end. It's going to be interesting to see this team with that, toughness, that mentality of we're going to keep it between the, the tackles and we're going to grind the game down. Be fun to watch.
I'm also just so curious, and I know we've gone on this multiple times, but I can't help but think what this offense is going to look like and what player we're really drawn back from going, wow, like I really didn't think he had that in him, right? Like obviously the name that we're going to all say right away is like Lad McConkey. We think he's going to have like a pretty big year and be more important than people think he will be. But I'm just so curious, Dave, is who kind of steps up and who lets us down? Because every year, like looking at your team, your weaknesses. Even in the Hard Knocks thing, Joe literally goes, when they're talking about getting Burns, he goes, we'll get Burns and I'll freaking play corner. Like, your weaknesses going into the season. You know where you're going to suck at. I'm curious to see when we get there, who can step up from the groups that we're not really deep at or we're not really the strongest at. And we're going to have to kind of rely on other people to really make plays and step up.
All right. So I'm going to ask you both of you a question right now. I have one in my mind. If you could pick one player on the Charger offense to have a career year, who would you pick?
Wow, great question. I don't think anybody on the offense has a career year.
No, if you could pick anyone, this is the year you got a magic, a magic lantern, and you rub that thing and you go, this guy's going to have his best NFL season right now.
Oh, Josh Palmer. Has to be him, right? Has to be Josh Palmer or J.K. Dobbins if he stays healthy.
Dobbins is mine. Like if you have Gus Edwards and he does what he did in Baltimore, and then J.K. Dobbins can actually stay healthy and play like the player we think, he'd be my guy. I mean, it's going to be frustrating when he gets hurt, Mario, because we're all going to go, we knew it was going to happen. Like, you don't want to wish ill will on anybody, but this is just what his resume is. Why Leonard thinks he misses a lot of games. I mean, it's out of control. I don't know. What do you think, Mario? Who's the most important person to have that career year?
So, who I think will have his career year, if I didn't say that to anyone, and you guys are going to hate me for it, but Palmer kind of came to my head. JK did not come to my head at all. I think JK we're going to see in Miami on the boat having a vacation by like week 4. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see him around that long. I hate to say it, boys, but I really think it's Bosa comes in on the career year.
No, but on the offensive side. The question was the offensive side.
Oh, the offensive side. All
yeah.
Right. All right, let's pick from a pile of crap. Like, jeez Louise.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to get mad by that.
Yeah, whatever. God, dude. I want to say you're kind of right, Josh. It has to be Palmer just because we've seen so many glimpses of it. I'm not comfortable saying Quinn Johnston because I just don't think it's going to be there yet. I think we're going to have every 4 games, we're going to have a wow screen pass and like Quinn Johnston really makes a move and burst open. And I'm like, wow, that's really, really good. But I don't think we're going to see anything that special. It's going to be Palmer. I still think the receiver that has the best year of all of them is going to be Ladd.
Okay, so jumping to Ladd, I think I agree with what he just said about Ladd. Like I haven't seen him do anything in the Charger uniform, but for some reason, I'm hanging my hat on this kid. Josh, are you doing the same? Mario's obviously doing the same.
100%.
Okay, so Josh plays fantasy football with the guys who are in California. I play fantasy football with guys in California. Mario, you're in Washington D.C. right now.
Yeah.
Are you going to take him with your last pick, thinking people won't know who he is? Like, do you feel comfortable saying I'm putting him on my fantasy football team?
Yeah, he's like a good later on guy. Yeah, a good guy to snag to keep on the roster a little bit.
Yeah, see, in the leagues Josh and I are in, someone's going to take him like in the 8th round.
Yeah,
someone's just gonna go. I don't know football, but I know that guy, and I'm gonna grab him right now. But I was wondering if you're like on the East Coast, do you say, you know what, I can steal this kid? This kid's gonna put up numbers. People aren't gonna expect it.
there's probably some Republicans that will get him pretty quickly. You know, East Coast. All right, I just think that one in there. Go ahead, Josh.
I was going to ask Dave if he had the list of the worst weapon or quarterbacks with the worst weapons on FanDuel. Do you have that list?
Yeah, I do. All right, quarterbacks with the worst weapons. I don't have a list of all the guys, but some I disagree with. So the top 10 teams with the worst weapons are the only ones I'm going to give you guys. Okay, number 1 is Drake.
Yeah,
He quit the show. We've been waiting for this
show.
day for him to quit the show. I didn't think he'd do it mid-sentence, right? That wasn't on my bingo card. I didn't wait till later.
Let me tell you this, Josh. The people from UNC are pretty damn smart, and they have a little radar. And when you're about to say something bad about Drake May, and then they kick you out, you know, you gotta watch out for those guys.
I know what he did. He was trying to click between tabs between what we have in the rundown and the show, and he exited out 2 shows in a row. And he can't get back in. I know right now he's freaking out because he's trying to find your link in his email to get back into the show. But I can go through the list. I have it right
Go
here
ahead.
if you want. All right. So, like you said, FanDuel quarterbacks with the worst weapons. Number 1, Drake May with the Patriots. It's no surprise, right? The Patriots stink. One of the worst rosters in the NFL. Number 2, you got Bo Nix and the Broncos. Also, team's terrible. 3 is going to piss off our fans. Justin Herbert and the Chargers. 3rd worst weapons in the NFL. I disagree. 4, Daniel Jones and the Giants. 5, Derek Carr and the Saints. 6, you got Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers. 7, Bryce Young and the Panthers. 8, Commanders, Jaden Daniels. 9, you got the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. And 10, you got Josh Allen and the Bills. So I don't agree with a lot of the list, but we can go through it one by one. Why did you quit the show? Why?
Yeah.
Were you upset? What's wrong?
Yeah, my feelings got hurt. No, I don't know. It just went out. For some reason, it went out on me last show, too. I didn't even know I went out. I was looking at the list and took us off screen. I didn't even know. I went through the whole list and gave a whole diatribe of every team.
One Republican joke, and Dave decides to leave, huh?
That's it. Got the flip chart all of a sudden. I disagree with the list on some of these guys. The Aaron Rodgers one upsets me because I think like they're looking for excuses for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has a ton of talent. I can make an argument Aaron Rodgers has more talent on the Jets offense than he's had ever with the Packers.
How the hell is he on the list? He has to be in the top 5 to 8 most talent in the NFL.
Wilson, Williams, Conklin, and Hall. All of them are good.
Really good. They're all really good. Yeah. Makes no sense. All right, but if you want, do you agree with the 2 above Justin Herbert, Bo Nix and Drake May?
I do. And you know what? I hate to say it. You could even say you can move the Chargers up to number 2 on that list because at least Bo Nix has Cortland Sutton, right? At least he has somebody. I mean, Sutton's better than Palmer, correct?
That's very true. Their number 1's better. Like you can't deny it.
Yeah, I just think there's nothing else. I mean, I'll take Ladd McConkey and Josh Palmer together over Cortland Sutton, and I don't think their team's very good. They got rid of Jerry Jeudy. The other receivers, Josh Reynolds. The other guy's Marvin Mims. Talk about injuries. The running back is Javonte Williams. He can't wake up without getting hurt. So I just don't think that team's. Team's terrible. Thankfully, they're in our division.
Can I just?
Justin Herbert, though. I mean, sorry, Justin Herbert. I think the receivers aren't great, but the running backs I think should be pretty damn good if they're healthy.
When are we gonna stop with the love affair of the Buffalo Bills? Like seriously, quarterbacks with the worst weapons, and we're putting Buffalo at 10. I would put them way higher Keon Coleman, Shakir, Valdez-Scantling doesn't have hands. Chase Claypool lives in La La Land thinking that he's a top 5 receiver in the league. He's high off something, probably. Curtis Samuel's a nothing, like a third best receiver at best. Dalton Kincaid, okay, I'll give that's a good tight end. And like what, you're going to throw it to your tight ends the whole time? I don't get the love affair we have with the Buffalo Bills. And like they're the favorite to win their division too. Like how the Dolphins not a favorite by now? That team lost a lot of guys this past offseason. Like a lot of guys. Them 10th, I would put them even higher. Like I would take the Jets weaponry over them. I would maybe take the Commanders weaponry over them. Like I don't get that at all. We need to be harder on the Bills and realize that like this team is inbound for a very depressing year. But instead, like it just shocks me how highly they're put on some list. I'm like, God, really? All right. Like, I don't know what you guys are smoking, but let me get on it really quickly because it looks like a good time.
Well, Derek Carr at number 5 when he has Chris Olave is ridiculous. I mean, that's a huge weapon.
It's not even Chris Olave though. They got Kamara, and then I'm drawing a blank on the other the other kid from San Diego. They got 2 San Diego receivers. Totally drawing a blank here. If anybody put his name in the chat, I appreciate it. But Derek Carr, another guy people make excuses for because he's a nice guy. I don't care that he's a nice guy.
Yeah,
great. Doesn't help me win football games. Rashid Shaheed, great.
Yes, gosh darn it, dude. I was so close to it. I did 2009 roster for something else, but go ahead.
No, but Derek Carr is one of those guys people make excuses for all the time. We talked about Devontae Adams on the last show, hitching himself to Derek Carr. Well, dude, it's not going to end up well. So Derek Carr, to me, he's the guy. I'm like, God dang, man, how much credit we're going to give this guy?
I'm with you. When's the Derek Carr experiment over in the NFL? I mean, he is what he is. Derek Carr is not a great quarterback. It's insane. I think the only 32 jobs of like this in the world, and yet he has one of them all the time that he's guaranteed a spot. I don't understand. I mean, he wasn't good with the Raiders. He definitely wasn't good with the Saints. Dude, you were in an easy division last year, and you couldn't do anything. Derek Carr is not an elite talent. He never will be. He just won't be. That's just the way it is.
You put it best. He is what he is. He's a turnover machine, dude. He's Sam Darnold that gets way more opportunities. Well, he's better than Sam Darnold, but he turns the ball over like Sam Darnold. It's crazy.
I would also say on top of this, just looking at it, Bo Nix could really have, like, he could be a player maybe we'll look back on that he becomes a backup because this year it goes so badly because the team around him so bad. And like he's a backup for like the Niners or something. He has like a really good game. And we have the conversation of maybe if this guy just went somewhere better, like it's like, what I'm saying, his confidence just gets torn apart. Like that's why like Drake May, shout out UNC, but I just really hope he does not play a snap this year. Like, please, for the love of God, don't throw him out there because it's just going to be, hey, I'm throwing to 4th graders that are facing professional athletes right now. Like, I don't know what you guys want me to do. All right. Like I'm going to look terrible. My parents are going to tell me I look terrible. Everyone in the world is going to know I look terrible, but I have no one to throw to. I'm coming from the ACC. Like someone throw me a freaking bone here. That's just going to be tough. I just pray that someone in New England just going, guys, let's be honest. Elf in the room. The elephant's saying that we freaking suck. So let's not let's not kill the confidence of our starting quarterback, our future quarterback. I mean,
the Patriots are a complete disaster, right? You have nothing. The Chargers have a quarterback. They have a franchise quarterback. We kind of are worried about what's around them because we want to see the team go further. The Patriots have nothing. Jared Mayo's in deep S right now as a head coach. Yeah. I mean, how long can you keep him around? I mean, I'm sorry, but you can't keep him around for 4 years and go give him a chance to build a roster. There's no way they're going to sit there and go through this. It's not what Boston does. Boston fans don't just go give it time. It's not Jacksonville. It's not the way it works. They're used to the Red Sox winning, and the Bruins been good, and the Celtics winning championships, and the Patriots have won a lot over the last 20 years. I'm sorry. Mayo's not going to be the guy that turns this thing around, and this is where it's going to show. It's not the coach. It's the roster. The roster is terrible. It's going to take a long time to fix. And again, to have a quarterback like May or Nix that jump into a team that you don't have weapons, it's going to hold you back. Caleb Williams is in such a great spot. How many times do you see a guy get drafted as the number 1 person go to a roster that's stacked? And that offense is stacked. I mean, better than I've ever seen the Chicago Bears in the history I've been watching. The fact that you have big-time wide receivers and you have weapons all over the field, dude, he should have a lot of success and basically be the star of that city. Like he should, a year from right now, Caleb Williams should be the most popular person in the city of Chicago.
Dude, I can correct me if I'm wrong, Mario or Dave. Has there ever been a number one pick who has gotten so much immediate talent around him on the offense? I mean,
I can't remember once.
dude, it's
Luck,
insane.
maybe?
No,
I don't think Luck
Wayne.
had.
He had Reggie Wayne right away.
yeah, I think Reggie Wayne was towards the end. My opinion.
Yeah.
I
But
just thought
dude,
on top of my head.
Caleb Williams, this is what he's walking into. He gets DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, who I think is top 10, Keenan Allen, who I think is top 10, Roma Dunze, first number 9 pick in the whole draft at receiver, and Cole Kmet, one of the best young tight ends, and backup tight end is Gerald Everett, who we love on this show.
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude. I mean, Caleb Williams to me has to be the favorite for sure for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
When you're looking at the Hard Knocks with the Roma Dunze, are you sitting there going, man, I love this guy even more? I mean, I liked everything I saw about him.
Right?
Right?
Rome or Malik?
Roma Dunze. When they're sitting there showing at the combine, and they're showing, he's obviously he has alpha male personality, but man, I want the ball, and he looked great running the forward. Everything looked great. Where you're going, this guy's going to fit in perfect along the other side of Keenan Allen. Like if I'm not a Bears fan. I've been to Chicago once in my life, but man, if I'm a Bears fan, this is the most excited you should be. It is set up great. The one thing you don't have in Chicago is you don't have a established coach.
Yeah. I'm telling you guys, it is July 11th, 4:32 p.m. on the East Coast. I promise everyone listening, I promise you, this team is going to fall apart so quickly. I'm telling you that right now. If the team's going to fall apart. I know I'm young, but I've lived through a lot. I've seen it, guys. I've seen the hype train. Okay, I've seen the positivity before. The 2024 Bears are going to be the 2023 Jets. It's all going to go wrong. I promise you. When the coach just is not there. Eberflus is going to be way over his head. I think Ryan Poles is a very good GM. Caleb Williams has everything to be successful. You said best receiving core you could ever ask for. He has. I don't know, guys. It still screams to me 500. By the way, them being 500 is a good year. That's a very good year. Given how young that roster is, that's fine, and how tough that division is. You arguably have 2 NFC title contenders in your division. It's very, very hard to beat those guys.
What are the Vegas odds? I would say they won't be 500. They have 9 wins or 8 wins. But what are the Vegas odds for the Bears? I'm curious now.
It was like 7.5, I believe.
Ooh, I take the over on that.
I
don't know. I like that. I like that Bears team a lot.
Tough division though, man.
And people are
very
saying
tough.
Again in the Hard Knocks, he's the closest thing to Patrick Mahomes. Everyone was impressed with Caleb Williams big time. Weren't happy that he lost all those games at the end at USC and that he refused to talk to the media after the UCLA game, but that was minor stuff.
Yeah, that can't happen in Chicago. I'll tell you that right now. They'll go to your home. They do
You're going to answer these questions. Hey, you aren't going to bed yet. You're going to answer these questions.
Yeah.
That is funny. That's funny. Angie, I see right here on the side. Yeah, they kicked me out of the show. You saw that, Angie. I got upset. They kicked me right out 2 shows in a row. I know what to tell you. Roberta wants me to answer that question here. It's Dave, can you give us your best locker room story? All right. I got a million locker room stories. Josh's eyes are through the roof. So I got a bunch of baseball ones. I got some NFL ones, and I have obviously I have a bunch of NBA ones, which are always interesting. I'll stay with the Chargers. I'll give you 2 Chargers stories for you. Okay. Chargers lost a playoff game. Antonio Cromartie didn't play real well. I'm not going to hold the player's name out of the story. And the way it's set up in the locker room, when you used to walk into the locker room, all the cornerbacks were in safeties in the same area. Eric Weddle kind of ran that section, but Antonio Cromartie was right next to him. And then on the other side, there was another veteran cornerback. And as the guys are putting their clothes on and people are upset because the season's over, one of the veterans just turned to Antonio Cromartie and says, "Don't sit there and get dressed like this game wasn't 100% your fault." Just completely blamed it on Antonio Cromartie. Called him out. And it was. He wasn't wrong. And Antonio Cromartie just grabbed his stuff, walked out. Like I thought a fist fight was going to break out right there. It didn't happen. So here, this one I got to leave the player's name out. All right, but it made me laugh. So the way it's set up, you walk in, you got the locker room. It's a big like rectangle, and you have the showers over to the side. Chargers just get the big win where they beat the Indianapolis Colts, where Darren Sproles, has the big run and they win. And a Charger player comes out of the shower and he does the old Silence the Lambs tuck move. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay.
Funny.
Okay. So he has a towel around his waist and he comes out. We don't know he does the tuck move, but he has a towel around his waist and he's screaming. He makes everybody stop asking questions. Basically, everybody look at me. All the media, all the players screaming. We left it all out on the field. All of it. We left it all out on the field. And then he drops his towel and he does the look down and goes, "Oh my God, where's my, I left that out on the field too. It's all gone." and it was a funny line. It was a funny move. Everybody laughed. And that was the move. But the guy pulled the old Silence the Lambs. Let's tuck this thing back a little bit. There you go. I got two.
And that guy was Marty Schottenheimer. It was weird.
That was Marty. That was Marty. That was 100% Marty. Can you imagine it was Norv Turner? Like, what? Jesus, Norv. What do you take a shower for? You just coached. What are you doing?
Jim Harbaugh definitely takes a shower, right? He's definitely a coach that takes a shower.
With cleats on. Yeah.
100%.
Dude, how weird would that be for the players if your coach is taking a shower with you? That's kind of crazy.
So weird. So
Dude,
weird.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Here you go. I got one for you.
Okay.
Now, maybe I'm crazy when I say this. Is it weird that when the Lakers play games next year that LeBron's taking showers with his kid after practice and games?
All right. Well, you don't have to put it like that. You did not have to put it like that.
Right? Am I
never
right?
thought about that till right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Think after every practice, every game, you're like, this is
All
weird.
right.
Like, this is weird.
It's definitely weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little.
Yeah.
Well, it's also too, like, think about the stuff you talk about with your teammates. We're playing the Hawks tonight. Let's go out before. You don't really want to go out with your dad and, "Hey, Dad, I got laid." You know what I mean? Like, I'm not.
Ronnie's only 19. Like, Ronnie can't even go to a bar.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're Bronny's mom, you're like, this is the greatest thing ever. I got my husband watching my kid, make sure he's okay. And two, at the same time, LeBron's one thing has never been caught doing anything, whether it's drugs or other girls or anything else. At least, your kid's on the road, he's still going to maintain that lifestyle. LeBron's the safest guy going. You got your kid watching. You're going to cheat on mom. You know what I'm saying? The mom's in a good position in this whole thing, going, "Hey, my kid's taken care of. Who's going to care more about him than his dad? He's on the road with him."
It's true. It's a good point.
Wow. Now I really think about it. This sucks for Bronny. Dude, if I was
you see blocking them all over the place.
Yeah. If I'm a professional athlete, I'm like, dude, I made it. I'm not gonna lie to you. When we're on game 45 and we're playing the Brooklyn Nets who are terrible, I'm gonna have a couple pops. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna go have a good time, and then I come back and I got my dad and then my coach that's gonna read me too.
Yeah.
Suck.
Yeah. B. Hannon says Bronny's gonna be showering in his swimsuit.
Funny.
Yeah. There you go. Oh my gosh. I like this one. They're all adults. Come on. Now look, I will say this, all right, because I know it was a weird topic I just brought up. Is a good friend of mine, and I drop names. It's my good friend Robert De Niro always says don't drop names. But a friend of mine's is Brett Boone, who obviously played in the big leagues for a number of years, and his dad played in the big leagues for like 22 years, and his younger brother's manager of the Yankees. Everyone knows the Boone family. So Brett and Bob were only 2 years apart, but possibly playing in the major leagues at the same time. Okay, so I brought this up to Brett once. I go, "Dude, how weird would that be to take a shower, being on the same team with your dad there?" And he just looked at me like, "What the F's wrong with you?" Like he was so bothered by I'd even bring it up. I go, "I don't know. For some reason, that'd be a big problem." Going, "What the hell?" This
has happened before though, because the Griffeys were on the same team.
Yeah, the Griffiths did it.
Yeah.
You gonna go ask Ken Griffey Sr. how it was to shower with his son, you weirdo?
It is crazy that you thought about that. Like, that's such an odd thing to think about.
It is. It is weird.
Dude, you got to tell a story about how you've almost got in so many fights in baseball locker rooms. People would love that.
A bunch of them.
Dude, there's a bunch of them.
Dude, a bunch of them over the years. All right, so I'm trying to think which one do you want to hear? I don't want to do the Tony Fernandez one, but which one do you want to go with? All right, I'll go with Tom Pagnozzi real quick. All right. So Tom Pagnozzi was a catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. And this story might No, they're good at the time. This is not just going all the way back to 96. Okay.
I'm just poking fun.
Okay. So Pagnazzi's catching for the Cardinals, Gold Glove catcher, not a good hitter. That's not the part of the story. I get asked.
You dig at him.
Yeah. I get asked by, and I've had some run-ins with players before in the past, but at the same time, I'm a young guy. So I'm in my early 20s. I'm in more shape than anyone else in the media, and I didn't have the best control of my temper either. But I got tired of getting pushed around by the players. So I'm up. ESPN asked me to go up to LA and interview Ozzie Smith. It was Ozzie Smith's last year. And I'm on right in front of the dugout. I think Joe Torre might have been the manager. And I got Joe Torre's story to tell you, but I won't tell you right now. So Ozzie Smith and I are talking, and Tom Pagnazzi says, "Move." He dropped a cuss word at me. "Move. I'm trying to warm up." And this is like right before the game starts. And I turn around and there's nobody there, but he has a ball in his hand and his catcher's glove on. And I just turned around and said, "Go ahead and throw it, a-hole. It's not coming back." And he goes, "What did you say?" And I was like, "It's on." I go, "We're going right here. We're going to fight right now." Like right before the national anthem, right in front of the Cardinal dugout on the field. We're fighting. I was pissed, dude. People are holding me back. Pagnazzi's looking at me like, "You insane?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm not one of those media guys you're going to push around." I was super angry. And we get separated. I go up to the press box. Game starts to play the game. Well, the next day, the Cardinals come down to San Diego. I'm completely not even thinking I'm going to see Pagnazzi the next day. And then I see Pagnazzi on the field the next day at batting practice. He comes up to me and goes, "What are you doing here?" And then it clicked like that fast. And I went, "I came down here to kick your ass. And if I don't get you in these 3 games, I'll be in San Francisco this weekend waiting there to kick your ass too." And now he's like, "Holy cow, this guy's a maniac." And so stays away from me for 3 days. And in my head, I'm just kind of laughing. Like, I got this guy, now he's freaked out. Can't judge crazy. And I'm crazy. So
You won the mental battle.
yeah, hold on, dude. Not done. Not done. So then playoffs come that year. Padres are playing the Cardinals in the playoffs, and it's sold out stadium, the whole deal. It's packed. And I'm on the third base side where the Cardinal dugout is, and I'm talking to Brian Jordan. Brian Jordan, I don't know if you remember, Mario, but Brian Jordan was a football player for the Falcons and a baseball player for the Cardinals. He was like Deion Sanders, but he didn't get all the publicity. Really good player, really nice guy. And we're just sitting there talking, and man, all of a sudden, right in the middle of our conversation, he takes his 2 hands and he pushes me in the chest as hard as he can, knocks me to the ground, and a ball goes right by where my head was and smashes right into the padding, like just a loud pop. Pagnazzi tried to kill me, threw a baseball right at my head from about 90 feet away as hard as he could. And if Brian Jordan didn't knock me down because he saw it coming, dude, I would have been smoked,
Holy.
I would have been at home answering the iron every time the phone rang. Like, I would have been a mess, dude. And so I'm like, look at this guy. So we it didn't go well, obviously. We didn't fight, but it was what everyone's looking around. Again, sold out stadium. What the hell's happening here? And I will say this: after that, Pagnazzi hurt his back, never recovered, dude, and never played baseball again. Happened. By the way, this happens all the time where something bad really happens to someone. Glenn Allen Hill told me to go F myself, shattered his wrist, never the same player again. But it happened all the time.
What was your first comment when you got pushed and you saw the ball? Like, I imagine you had a chirp coming right back at him.
No, I was kind of shocked. And then Brian Jordan's like, "What's going on?" Like, Brian Jordan's such a nice guy. He was concerned for me. Like, what's happening? And I was like, yelling back. It was so loud. Pagnazzi saw I was mad, but he couldn't hear me screaming a bunch of F-bombs at him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was nuts, man. Yeah. I hate to say it, I got a bunch, but but there's the Pagnazzi one for you.
Josh, can we say trust circle really quickly? And tell me if I'm wrong here, Josh. But Dave did pick the right, like, if you had to do the 3 main sports, you did pick the best sport. If you had to get into it with an athlete, baseball would be the best option to go. You know what I mean? Football, just no shot. NBA, they're way too big and they got the distance. You have to close the distance.
But NBA guys can't fight. Basketball players can't fight. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, but they're tall.
They got the distance. Yeah.
They got the distance, and closing the distance, that's going to be hard to do. MLB's like your best. You could
but MLB players, they all got those big giant forearms and stuff, like they're CHB officers. You know what I mean? Like, what's the deal with
but you
that?
can get lucky. You can get really lucky though, and get
those big forearms as writing tickets. Like, why do these guys have all these giant forearms? It's freaking nuts.
Why are firemen always at Sprouts? That's my question. Yeah, Trader Joe's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Yeah.
All right, there we go. All over the place. Anything on the side I missed, guys? My eyes aren't. My eyes aren't catching
There's
it.
there's
Go
one Mario highlighted. Mario, if you put it on the screen from Mike G, it goes, "Who do you guys think will be on the hot seat midway through the season?"
From Charger side or NFL side?
I think just NFL.
Yeah, because I don't think anyone's on the hot seat on the Charger side at all. There's
No,
going to be some
no.
time.
Go ahead, Dave. You go first.
Well, I'm going to the head coach of the Bears is my number one guy.
Same. Yep. Has to be with that team.
Yeah.
Right, Mario?
I had Flus up there, but I really do think number one, and I've crapped on him already. I really think it's gonna be McDermott. I really think it's Sean McDermott's seat's gonna be the hottest it's ever been this year. I think mid-season it's gonna be him or McCarthy because Cowboys. There's a tornado ready to just blow through that freaking city.
Okay, I think both those guys lose their jobs after next year, but I think after the year. If Bill Belichick isn't offered the Bills job, I don't know what to say. You know,
dude, if Mike Vrabel's not the coach of the Bears, I mean, he's the perfect guy for that city.
I couldn't agree more. Mike Vrabel should be the coach of the Chicago Bears. You know, I think the Raiders are going to be looking for a coach next year too. We should write out our list, guys. There's always at least seven head coaching candidates that come up every year as far as which guys are out. It's minimum of 7 guys lose a job every single year. We should try and pick our 7 before the season starts. When we come back to Nick's show, AI did a prediction on the next 10 Super Bowl matchups. Okay, so I want to go through that list on where the Chargers stand in that, and as far as what happens with if you believe in AI, if you like the predictions that they have as far as the teams that will match up in the Super Bowl for the next 10 years. So we'll touch on all that stuff too. Do you have anything else on the side that I might have missed? I'm sorry.
Oh, AK is going to have a heart attack if I don't get to his.
I was like, you announce that every time.
What is it today?
He wants it.
He
goes,
one.
Everyone is hating and disrespecting Herbert since he has been with the Chargers coach, where's play calling, where's defense, bad offensive line, and receivers get hurt. Is he wrong about that? No, I mean, you're absolutely right about that. Justin Herbert has had a lot of things go wrong around him, but I think now, we could stop looking towards the negative with Justin Herbert and start looking at the positive because he's going to have a great head coach and a more stable team around him, is my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's caught the most heat. But like, Josh just said it, I think he's in the most stable part of his career. Harbaugh's obviously not going anywhere. Harbaugh's going to be here for a while. And I think with him knowing that and Harbaugh knowing that, there's not going to be a lot of change of guard. He's not, he's on his 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years. That's a lot of change and play calling, a lot of change and plays and offenses and names of stuff. So I think it's the start of the prime years of Herbert, if that makes sense. The best part of his years are still to come. And I think that's pretty exciting as a Charger fan.
I agree with everything you guys said right there. Herbert's couldn't be in a better position. All he has to do is perform. And even if things don't go the way we think they're going to go with Herbert this year, he'll be in the same position next year where all he has to do is perform. I'm sure they're going to get him weapons. You took care of the offensive line this year. It's all about getting the skilled guys, whether it's offense or defense, but they're going to get something to help Herbert out. Remember, they're in a great position next year, salary cap wise too. I'll throw a name out there right now that you never know. It's a guy like even a CD Lamb. I mean, everyone on the Cowboys, their contract runs out. The Cowboys have 11-star players where their contracts run out. So, what do the Cowboys do? And they have a talented team. At the same time, do you make a move? The Brandon Ayuk story, by the way, it's not a done deal with the Niners by far. Matter of fact, the talk is right. Mara, you probably know more than we do on this, but you keep hearing that Ayuk is going to the Commanders. It's the trade that's happening. Is that still hot out there?
It's like everyone out here, like just from walking by and like hearing people's conversations, even talking to some, everyone like expects it to be a done deal. Yeah. Or like everyone in Ayuk's camp expects it. Let me rephrase that. Everyone in Ayuk's camp expects it to be a done deal. And it's like the Niners and John Lynch just going, hey, how about you play this year out? You know what I'm saying? So I think we're in like a power struggle. And they're also in the dead period, but like we're in a power struggle right now of where the cards are really at. And if it happens, not surprising, but also, I mean, we've seen this a lot in the NFL, right, guys? Like when the player really, really wants something, do they usually get it? We don't really
Okay,
see that a
so
lot.
let me reverse that a little bit on both you guys right here. What do you think if you're in the Niners, you're John Lynch, you're running that team? So the last 4 years with the Niners, 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl losses, 2 NFC Championship games, 2 NFC Championship losses. They have fallen short of what their goal is. They're supposed to have the best roster in the NFL. Are you worried at all about team chemistry? Like this is a team with a ton of weapons from all over the place. Is it easier for the Niners to go, let's just get rid of Ayuk so everyone's on the same page?
No, I would keep Ayuk just because he makes that team whole. He's the only real receiver on that team. I know they got a rookie, but Debo, we always talk about, he's like running back / receiver. George Kittle's the traditional tight end. You need Brandon Ayuk. I think he's the one that makes everybody a bigger threat because he's going to be the real #1 receiver. I would keep him, and I don't think he has that type of personality. I don't know him, obviously, but I don't think he has that type of personality where he'd cause trouble during the season. I feel like when the season starts and things get underway, it'll quiet down.
Do you think like the winning cures all will kind of come into effect, right? Like if they come in like 4-0, that just kind of dwindles away, or do you think the complaining will always stay there?
Receivers always complain. They do. And if you think you aren't getting paid what you deserve, every receiver thinks you're the best receiver in the league.
Yeah.
They all do. Right. I mean, again, I don't know how much you guys watch the receiver show, but, Randy Moss breaks down what a receiver does. And he goes, and don't forget, we're always open. I mean, he couldn't be more right. Anyone who's ever played football will, I don't care if you're an offensive lineman or a quarterback, every receiver comes back will tell you, I was open. It is so frustrating when you're the guy that's throwing the ball going, you're open after I threw the ball to the left side and everybody left when you were on the right side. You weren't open, but they always think they're open at the same time. By the way, the Debo thing was, I thought, hilarious on the receiver show at the beginning how he got the name Debo. Did you guys see this part?
I haven't seen that part yet.
I knew that. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that he got the name from his dad watching the movie Friday and said he looks like a kid, 6 years old. He looks like a kid that steals other people's stuff. And so he named him after the guy that shows up and robs Ice Cube and the guys on the porch, So he goes, he has that face. He goes, we'll just call him Debo. So he named him after the guy that steals everyone's stuff. I had no idea. That did. It made me laugh. All right, we'll get on out of here. Hey, appreciate the comments. I know we didn't get to a bunch of them. We're going to start doing a lot more as far as reading the comments on the side. We see that you're there and appreciate that you're there. Please leave your comments in the YouTube channel, and we answer every one of those. We get to every single one of those, so we appreciate it. Again, you guys taking time in the middle of your day to follow the show. But again, next show, just a little tease for you. We'll tell you what AI thinks. When will the Chargers be in the Super Bowl in the next 10 years? They broke it down of every Super Bowl matchup for the next 10 years. We'll tell you exactly how things line up. But again, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe and like the show. Thumbs up. We need it. Again, for Mario Heron, Josh Palais, I'm Dave Palais. We'll see you next Tuesday.